By now, everyone from here to Lake Michigan is clowning Matt Eberflus.
How should you have handled the final sequence?
Yeah, I like what we did.
After a string of horrific losses and finding more ways to lose than Adam Sandler and Uncut Gems, Eberflus was fired 2 hours after meeting with the media and telling them he expected to be coaching the Bears moving forward. Not shocking that he mishandled the end of his tenure. Rather than clown him like his name was Ronald McDonald, I have an entirely different take. The guy did nothing wrong. He isn't as clueless as you think, and I'll tell you why right after this. So how did he even get this job? Matt Eberflus is from Toledo, Ohio, and played linebacker at his hometown college of Toledo. From there, he became a coach at Toledo, and after 18 years in the college ranks, he broke into the NFL in 2009 as a linebackers coach with the Browns. It would be another 9 years before he got a defensive coordinator position with the Colts in 2018, where he was hired by Frank Reich. To say he doesn't know football is patently absurd. The guy had 27 years of paying dues before he even stepped into a coordinator role. Though moderately successful in Indy, it's not like the Colts set the world on fire, so when Eberflus was hired as the Bears head coach in 2022, a few eyebrows were raised. But hey, the Eagles hired Nick Sirianni and the Cardinals hired Jonathan Gannon, both former Frank Reich disciples. Bears fans held a mixed reception for the thick-haired Eberflus. However, this was to be the year that the franchise helped develop second-year QB Justin Fields, and optimism would abound. And sensing that Fields wasn't a tremendous offensive threat, the Bears figured hiring a defensive mind was the best thing for the team. So Bears fans took to having things like expectations that offseason, as it was going to be a special year, a breakout season for Fields, a special 3-win season. There were 4 one-possession games that season in which were lost by the Bears in the last 2 minutes and 30 seconds, but hey, this was just a bad team, right? The next year and next offseason, Bears fans once again started firing up their keyboard with stern optimism. Surely third-year QB Justin Fields would be poised to at least take this team over 500. Yeah, they finished 7-10. Though the team started 0-4, they ended up being competitive. In week 11, the team blew a 26-14 lead with 4 minutes left versus the Lions and ended up losing 31-26, finished off with a safety with 22 seconds left. The team blew a 7-point lead with 3 minutes left to the Browns and lost 20-17 in regulation. The Bears also blew a 28-7 lead versus the Broncos in week 4. Because of the ineptness of the Panthers, the Bears were gifted the number 1 overall pick in the 2024 draft, which was a no-brainer in taking Caleb Williams. Many raised eyebrows when Eberflus was retained headed into the year. But hey, they shot out to a 4-2 record and everything seems fine. Then the speed run to unemployment began. But I have to ask, was it bad luck or bad coaching? Let's examine. In week 8 versus the Commanders, the Bears roared back from a 12-0 deficit to take the lead, and in 43 seconds they scored 2 TDs and a 2-point conversion, giving you glimpses of what this Bears team can actually do. And 25 seconds later, this happened. Now look, Hail Marys are fluke plays, but before this happened, you see Tyreek Stevenson mocking Commanders fans, and then his guy catches the back-breaking TD. Kind of fluky. It actually wasn't the Hail Mary that was the biggest error by the Bears. It was the play before, when the team allowed the Commanders to pick up an easy 13 yards to even set up the Hail Mary. Several Bears players publicly disagreed with backing off on that play, but statistically, Hail Marys are super rare. Who could have seen this coming? After 2 awful losses to the Cardinals and to a terrible Patriots team, Eberflus's Bears entered their first divisional game of the year versus the Packers with a 4-5 record. And once again, crazy shit happened in the closing minutes. After Jordan Love scored a TD with 2:59 left, the Bears found themselves down 20-19. And then Caleb Williams orchestrated a beautiful drive, even converting on a 4th and 3 and setting the Bears up for the game-winning field goal. And of course, blocked. Now, was this bad luck or bad coaching? There's no amount of coaching that you can do that can prevent a guy from making a play, and that's what happened. But wait a minute, the Bears had 30 seconds on the clock and chose not to run another play and get closer for Santos. And though a 48-yarder seems reasonable, clearly every inch would have helped in the situation. Those inches make a difference. Honestly, Eberflus probably thought his team would fuck that up, and he was right. They ended up fucking it up anyways. A week later, the Bears are locked into another divisional game, this time against the 8-2 Vikings. After falling behind 11 points with 22 seconds left, the Bears miraculously tie the game with no seconds on the clock. Like, that string of events was so fluky, just getting his team in position to win a game in OT shows that Eberflus kind of knew what he was doing. I will say overtime was completely mismanaged. With all the momentum on earth, they called 2 straight passes and disarray, causing a delay of game after a sack, 3rd and 26, and then a punt. 5 minutes later, the game was over as the Bears gave up a back-breaking 3rd and 10 conversion, and then the Vikes never saw a 3rd down again. By now, everyone was calling for Eberflus's head like he was Marie Antoinette, and the only thing that might have saved his job was the fact that the Bears had a short week and they were playing the Lions on Thanksgiving. In what everyone thought would be a total ass-whipping, the Lions seemed to confirm that by jumping out to a 16-0 lead and then took a 23-7 lead headed into the 4th quarter. But these are the Bears, and again they mount a furious comeback only to do something remarkably painful and horrific at the end. I think we all know what happens next. The Bears get a stop, and after some good luck, they have a 1st and 10 on the Lions' 25. They have at least the field goal in hand, and there is 45 seconds left in the game. After an incomplete pass, the Bears call a timeout with the clock stopped. I mean, who wouldn't want to burn a timeout there? They seemed like they were confused. They follow that with a hands to the face penalty, which wipes out a huge gain, and then a sack, and then they waste 38 seconds in the most horrifically bad clock management anyone has ever seen. But what you don't see is Eberflus and the sideline yelling at Williams to hurry the fuck up and do something. I don't think, as a coach, he wanted that outcome. Nobody worth their salt ever does. And afterwards, Eberflus said he thought he handled that right. The thinking was probably run a short play and burn that timeout after, but the rookie QB Williams was lost in the moment. Maybe not Eberflus, who was put in a tough spot. The following day, 2 hours after meeting with the media and saying he expected to be coaching the Bears next week, Eberflus became both the first Bears coach to ever be fired mid-season and the first Bears coach to never beat the Packers in his stint as coach. Here's the thing though, even if the Bears had won all these games and were somehow 7-5 instead of 4-8, Eberflus would have had to make a deep run to keep his job anyways. Also, I hope you are detecting that I am being sarcastic about Eberflus and his coaching. The guy is actually inept, but he wasn't the problem, nor is he to blame. The real problem is the Bears front office retaining him the second they drafted Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams is a loose cannon out there, and despite his obvious talent, he is sorely underdeveloped, and that's something only an offensive-minded coach could help solve. Bears management, in particular President Kevin Warren, had no clue as to what on earth they're doing with this team. I'm not even sure Kevin Warren has a job function other than trying to get a new stadium built. Now, they eventually caved to public pressure to fire Eberflus, but in reality, it was the front office that dug this grave and chucked him into it. He should not have been anywhere near this team when the 2023 season ended. This firing happened 13 weeks too late. Ask any Bears fan who the real problem is, and smart ones will point a finger to the suite above the field, not to the people on the sidelines. You can't blame Eberflus for showing up when his key card kept working and for cashing checks on a job he thought he was capable of. So yeah, he was a bad coach. Duh. Bears, you're like the gift that keeps on giving.